The National Planning Commission released the Plan and Vision for 2030 on the 11th November 2011. Now we're calling on you to consider the proposals and make input so that we can improve on them and then adopt a plan that is workable and supported by all South Africans. For a plan to be successful, we need all South Africans to help to implement it. What the Planning Commission has applied its mind to is what kind of country we want to live in by 2030. We want a country in which no one goes hungry, in which everyone is able to go to school and study beyond that if they so wish, in which work is available, in which everyone is making a contribution because we've given each person what they need to live the lives they dream of. In June 2011, we released a diagnostic report in which we set out 9 challenges for the country. We said the problems facing South Africa are that too few people work, that the standard of education for most black learners is of poor quality, that infrastructure is poorly located, insufficient and under-maintained, that we live in areas trapped by apartheid, that the economy is not sustainable because we don't use resources smartly, that there's a widespread burden of disease in the country, that public services are uneven and often of poor quality, that corruption is widespread, and finally, that South Africa remains a divided society. We took these 9 challenges in a plan and flipped each one of them so that what started out as problems now are presented as solutions. And so we need to create more jobs, improve education, fix our infrastructure, break apartheid's planning legacy, use our resources wisely, improve healthcare, make the public service professional and consistently good. We must end corruption and finally create a unified nation. In addition, we put forward proposals on social protection for the vulnerable, on community and personal safety, on the rural economy, and on the position of South Africa in Southern Africa and Africa, very importantly. The plan we've drawn up proposes that if we do some things differently, we can eradicate poverty and reduce inequality. To achieve the change we want, we need to change the way we do things. First, let me share with you examples of the 87 concrete steps we've proposed to give you some idea about our thinking. The first example I'd like to use is about job creation. We know that as a country we have a mountain to climb. What we are proposing are 6 steps which we believe will get people into work. These are, firstly, develop the skills and capabilities of our people by providing better education, not just at or beyond matric, but from the very early years right through to tertiary level. Secondly, we need to lower the cost of living as well as the cost of doing business. We must improve public transport for working people and reduce the cost and time of commuting. For businesses, we must improve our infrastructure by fixing our roads, railways and ports, and also provide cheaper internet access. Thirdly, we need to grow our export markets by making sure we support industries that produce things that other countries, particularly our neighbours, need. Fourthly, we need to promote manufacturing in areas where South Africa has a competitive advantage. Fifth, we must make it easier for young work seekers to get jobs by giving companies a wage subsidy to hire them for training. And lastly, we must grow the farming sector with a focus not just on planting, but also on agro-processing. Another example of what we have in the plan would relate to improving the education system. Here we have proposals covering the lives of children from the very beginning. We are proposing pilot nutrition programs for pregnant women and young children to prevent low birth weight. We must ensure that all children have at least 2 years of preschool education. For schools, we propose increasing the number of trained teachers and regularly testing teachers to determine their levels of knowledge and competence, and appointing only qualified people by reducing political and union interference in appointments. For tertiary education, we propose that a national skills planning system should be drawn up and FET colleges expanded. We must also increase the higher education participation rate from 17% to 30%. And we must make sure that loans and bursaries are available for all deserving and capable students, covering tuition, books, accommodation and a living allowance. And then we must improve the links between post-school education and workplaces. But merely having a plan on a piece of paper doesn't mean it's going to happen. Getting everyone involved is very, very important. The notion that the state delivers and everyone waits for it to deliver doesn't work well in a democracy. People must know their rights and participate. Parents must be active members of school governing bodies. There must be community policing forums in every community. Councillors must be held to account through their ward committees. Communities must participate in putting together integrated development plans. All of these things speak to active citizenry. People cannot just sit back and say, oh well, government hasn't done this or government hasn't done that yet, or believe that they can only resolve issues by the occasional toy. The other important change that we speak of is a capable state. It's not just electing parliament, a provincial legislature or a municipality. We must know that the state is capable of delivering on the commitments that politicians make. So if there's a commitment to good schooling, then the state must deliver on it, and people must ensure that the state does so. For the state to be able to do this, it needs a competent administration that is capable of acting when and where people need it to do so, and then at the lowest possible cost. So these three dimensions, active citizenry, a capable state, and leadership throughout society, are going to be the key elements to getting us to where we want to be by 2030. The fact that we have a plan that stretches out to 2030 does not mean that we have to wait until then to implement things. We can and will do things now. We must learn from the actions we take, and then we must accelerate implementation as we proceed. Now, as we take these issues forward, I want to ask you, please, to make a contribution to the success of the plan. The National Planning Commission is made up of 26 commissioners. We've taken advice from a number of people to ensure the best expertise. But what we have is still inadequate. We need your ideas, your inputs, your criticisms. We're not asking you to accept or reject it all. What we're appealing for you is to join the debate. You can find the plan on our website. Visit us on Facebook. Follow the debates on Twitter. But very importantly, give us email feedback of your considered view. Over the next few months, we'll be holding discussions with Cabinet and with government departments and organizations big and small. But we also want every South African to know that each one of you has a place in the plan. So make your contribution. We are waiting for your inputs. Thank you very, very much. In anticipation of those considered inputs, let's make the plan a reality.